Okay players, today I'm at the range here in the deep south of Thailand. So we're going to be doing the drill that Eric has shown me. We have to drag the club from the inside like that to impact position and then kind of like bounce up and keep that club face almost open like that. It feels like open to me because my swing is, and the way I use my hands is to bring it into the ball like that and flip it around. And if you look at most of my shots when I'm finished hitting it, over there already, the club is already turned facing that way. Now I want to try get that thing that the club face stays open long or square longer instead of using my hands to flip it around, because that's the old way of doing it.
Just in prelude, you've done a fantastic job in sorting out your head and your sway off the golf ball. And your right hip is definitely working a little bit deeper now, which is good. That's as good as we've seen it. I mean, I'm very, very happy with that. If you look at these two backswings, they're very, very similar. You've got a rock and over the top collapse. So you rock forward or collapse forward past the line. Two very different looks. So I'm going to change the color on this. I'm not sure if you can see that clearly, but for me, it's clearly evident just how much different your upper half is at the same stage on the way down. So for me, the key thing here is going to be to try and help you stop drift, rock, over collapse your upper half towards the target. And I'm just going to try and hold that upper half back a little bit more. There's a couple of small little drills that we're going to give you. You've got a little, in my opinion, you've got a little too much left knee bend at this stage here. So from here, I would love to get you straightening up and exploding out. So straightening up your left knee, all right, and straightening out your right through the shot. So that's just going to knock your upper half back just even a little bit more as well, is that left knee in particular, the lower half. You can just see how hunched you are at the top versus the bottom one. The more upwards I can get with my left knee, in your case anyway, the shallower I can keep my radius down at the ball. You know, so pre-impact, impact, and post-impact will be much more shallow, very little angles to it, if I can get your left knee straightening up a little bit. So what you're going to do is, I'm just going to do this in smalls, but you're going to stick it here, and what you're going to do is you're just going to get this lower half looking more forward than your upper half. So the club back is going to hold your upper half back in your head, and what we're going to do is we're just going to drag, pressurize, and or straighten and extend up. All right, so back here, make sure your body's in the right shapes, and then drag, extend into let the left knee extend, straighten, and your body's going to extend with your hands holding. All right, so there's no flip. So it's just basically learning to hold the club face. So what that's going to do is it's going to stop a lot of your caught chicken wings, which is, you know, a little bit too far ahead in your upper half location, and it's making you get jammed through here, right? So what I'm trying to do is just try to hold this back, drag, hold, extend, and then extend the arms. So straighten the left knee, extend the arms feeling, and that drag's really going to help you. So this is an exaggeration. This is just going to hold your upper half back. Drag, pressurize, straighten the left knee, extend and hold. All right, that's the biggest thing that I reckon that's probably the best drill for you. It's going to teach you, in my opinion, you know, basically work on three things in one. That's probably the most efficient drill for you. Why I think it's a good one for you as well is because by getting you to drag and extend, it's really teaching you to hold yourself over the golf ball, like really covered, so you're not humping it, right? So this drag, it's really teaching you to stay over a golf ball. Number two, by placing the club back and doing it, you're actually also fixing and giving yourself a body feel where your head and your upper half is not ahead of it, or it's not drifting ahead of it. So it's basically you teaching you to hold back on it. Number three, you've always had a little bit of an early extension. So you've had good through here, and then it always starts to and release and kick out of the golf ball a bit too early. So this also holds your wrists and your lag, if you want to call it lag. It just holds your angles a little bit better. So that's a great one for you. Now, earlier we were talking a little bit about your left knee, trying to get the left knee straighter. And the reason I want your left knee straighter, especially if you look back at your lesson video that I sent you earlier, if I can get your left knee straightening out, I can shallow out my low point of my golf swing. Because you are a little too bent and then lopsided, like your upper half mass is too far ahead of it, and you're a little too bent and caught in your left knee, everything just jams up, right? And when it jams up, you've got no room, that's where it starts to attack it quite steep, all right, and gets very, very caught on you. So if I can get your left knee less bent at impact and starting to straighten up from hip height, get you to straighten out, that's gonna teach you to start almost like hitting up on it. All right, so it's the exact equal opposite of you going down, which is bent, overloaded, or lopsided in your upper half, approaching the golf ball a little bit steep, to straightening out the left leg. That's going to teach you to sort of get up and through the golf ball, right? And that's just going to help shallow out your divot point, or especially your low points. It's going to make your lower half work a lot more, let's call it low to low, rather than a little bit like a V shape, So that's one area that both of these things are equally as important as each other. So both can't be neglected. So you need to find your own little key in terms of feels and words, and you can send me a couple of videos as just a checkup, just to make sure, you might have a key where, to stop your upper half going forward, you might feel like, okay, I've got to hold my shoulders closed a little bit longer, or it's going to feel like my back's at the ball, back's towards the target a little bit longer. You might feel a head at a certain position. You might feel you can see something or feel something, and when I get that right look and then that feel can sort of correlate with that, that's where you sort of progress. It's just like a swing key, or like a trigger. I think every good golfer's always got a couple of small things that they've always had, or something that they've thought about or worked on. It always keeps them in check or in a neutral position. So certain things work for certain players. I don't want to give you a word. What we've found is by giving you a visual look, it's really helped you to create your own feel, which is something that I sort of appreciate. I mean, not everyone's built the same way. You put your hand up, everyone does it 100 different ways. You get 100 people to do it. Some are going to go here, some are going to go here, some are going to go like this. So we all do it differently.
So in episode 1, players, I'm going to be doing what Eric has shown me in a drill, which I can't find because I left my computer at the hotel room. So it's basically to drag the club like that through to impact square from the inside and then pop it up like that, which I'm not very good at because I seem to flick it with my wrists. It's my habit, to flick it with the wrists. So that's what I got to get into, compressing it and then keep holding it off. And that's all. And I'm going to send him the video. He's going to give me feedback. I'm going to work on it again. Every day, 100 contacts with a golf ball. 100. Putting, chipping, pitching, driving range, whatever. Did I move ahead of the ball there? Did my club face continually turn through the ball? Did I turn into the hip? Did my head move ahead of the ball? Did I flip it? All these problems come to me on the golf course when I haven't been to the range to work them out in a low stress environment. So doing this on the golf course screws you up, okay? it screws you up. You've got doubts. The first 5, 6 holes, you're wondering what you're doing. You're all stiff and tense. And after 6, 7 holes, when you screwed them all up, you get relaxed and you just hit the ball. Probably incorrectly, but you fall in your old ways where you know how it's going to work. So it's impossible to change something on the golf course because you're always in a high stress situation. When you come here, you can work all those stresses out, start to get a process going on how to actually implement these things. So when you go to the course, you don't have to spend the first 5 or 6, 7 holes tense trying to implement something new that you haven't practiced. So that drill that Eric's talking about is getting it in from the inside here, because I seem to hit the ball with this move to the left, steepening the club face, the shaft, and the club face comes down. My hands are here, and the club face is there, not really there. So it's coming in there, over the top, scrunched, and then chicken winging, and often rotating the club face constantly. So I'm trying to square the club face up as long as I can to get a consistent hit. This is how you play golf. There's no option. There's no option. If most people went to the pro to understand how to square the club face up, instead of getting fully, all the power being released there and then having to flip it up, or being able to turn and understand how to turn through the ball, if everybody did this in golf, in the world, the entire world handicap would come down 5, 6, 7 shots. Boom, just like that. Because people will start to understand how to hit the golf ball properly. Now, a professional can help you to understand, bam, impact, boom, instead of impact and pain. So the main purpose to go to Eric was to get rid of pain. Otherwise, I would stop playing golf, because I don't like waking up peeling myself off the bed sideways because my back, shoulders, traps, lower back, and butt cheeks are completely destroyed from the previous day's golf. So number one, it's fitness, to be able to actually rotate and be flexible enough in the hips from sitting jobs and things like that. These muscles here get very tight, inside the hip get tight, and the glute up here, this big glute, okay, you can deal with that. But this one up here, that's the one that gets me. So it's about flexibility and strength, and then understanding the actual technique. If you can get that technique of squaring the club face up, at impact looking in the correct position, turning those hips, I mean, you're gonna drop your scores. You're gonna have more power too, instead of that thing of freesh, or like me, boom, and then I'm flipping and rotating that club face the entire time. If we can get that club face to go square, 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 man, what a difference we would have, huh? Let's see, Eric, give us some feedback here, player. That's the one. Oh my God. Oh, mama. Oh, that's the one.
Hey, Matty. So huge strides taken already. Massive changes I see straight away. Watch what happens, bud. This is just awesome. So this is you feeling that drill that we were talking about, which was basically slide, compress, keeping the left leg straighter at impact and shallowing out the bottom of the arc. So one thing you notice straight away, the head stays further back. You get less upper half collapse onto the left side. It's now holding back. You're holding back you've got some body shapes there, which is something I really, really like. You're so much less ahead of the golf ball. That's just a completely different look to it. So once we've got less upper half slide, now we can start to work on your left knee. All right, so we're trying to get your left knee straightening up a little earlier this position we're talking about. So from here, we were trying to get your left knee working straighter and then creating extension because your left knee is straighter and less, it's not collapsed, but your left knee was more bent and that just compressed you. So we were trying to straighten up the left knee to shallow out the bottom of the arc. All right, so you get a little bit more, hit more, a little bit more on the up. All right. Number two, what that does is by straightening out your left knee a little earlier, you get a little bit of snap and you get a little bit of extension in your arms. Look how much straighter that left knee is. Look how much better your body shapes are, even your head positions. Now you're starting to get some extension in your arms because your left knee is straightening up. I mean, that is massive difference. So there's a really good look at your left knee. And that left knee is causing your right foot to sort of flare up as well. So as you straighten up, you can start to see you're banking into your right. So that's just awesome, mate. I absolutely adore that look. Look at your arms, so much more, let's call it connection, but it's starting to extend, you know. Bye-bye chicken wing. That crammed chicken wing look is the thing that you hate the most. I mean, put your hands at the same height. Look at the difference, mate. So even though I see there's a little bit of wrist release flip to it, let's take the good with the bad for the time being. What we set out to achieve first up was to minimize your upper half lean, to keep your upper half a little bit further back behind the golf ball through the drill, that drag, extend and pop drill.